competition.
Sun Oiler is on the outlap, not just warming up the tires but also warming up their instincts, getting the racer's intuition dialed in.
True that. They're getting the feel of the track, the car, the conditions. It's all about setting the stage for what's to come.
Look at A. Phillips taking it nice and easy, a smart move. Like a chess player contemplating the opening move, they're planning several steps ahead.
Spot on. They're mentally mapping each corner, each straight. It's not just about the car, it's about strategy and foresight.
There goes Sun Oiler, on their first dance with Rouen les Essarts. Every bend, every straight is a chance to learn, to adapt.
Yeah, and it's about syncing with the car too. Making sure everything's in harmony. It's like tuning an instrument before a big concert.
Look at M. Phillips go, they're really giving it some jandle now. The first flyer is always a bit of a reconnaissance mission, a mix of caution and raw pace.
You bet, Rob. They're mapping out the track, feeling out the grip levels, and getting a sense of how the car is performing today. It's a crucial lap for building confidence.
Megasaurus 55 is really opening up the taps now, their first flyer of the session. This is where we start to see what Sunbeam Grand Prix 1923 has got under the hood.
That's right, Rob. They're shaking off the cobwebs and really starting to push. It's all about finding that sweet spot between speed and control on the circuit.
Joe Yu is out there, taking it slow and steady on the outlap. This lap is like the calm before the storm, a moment of zen before pushing the limits.
That's right. It's about understanding the track's personality today a year ago. Each day, each lap can tell a different story, especially at a track like Rouen les Essarts.
And there's Sun Oiler, easing out onto Rouen les Essarts. It's like the first step on a long hike, finding your footing before you hit full stride.
Right, and every racer knows this out lap is precious. It's their first handshake with the track today, feeling out its mood and temperament.
You know, mate, watching these practice sessions, you think the driver just jumps in and goes. But there's a heck of a lot more to it. Starting with that aero package, the balance between drag and downforce.
Oh, for sure. You tweak the front wing just a smidge, and you could have a totally different beast on your hands. Depending on the track, they might want more downforce for those tight corners or reduce it for the long straights to maximize speed.
You ever think about what's ticking inside a driver's noggin during these laps?
All the time. It's a mix of analyzing, strategizing, and adapting. Every corner, every straight is a puzzle, and they're trying to solve it at full speed.
There's Joe Ergue, gently nudging the beast as they head out. The outlap is where you whisper to the car, "Let's dance," before the real party starts.
You got that right. It's a gentle waltz before the full-on rock concert of the race. They're testing the waters, getting a feel for every bend and straight of Rouen les Essarts.
And off goes Sunoiler, easing into the rhythm of Rouen les Essarts. This lap is like the first sip of your morning coffee, waking up the sensors, priming the engines.
Yeah, it's about syncing up with the machine, getting that perfect harmony between driver and car. It's like a prelude to a symphony that's about to unfold on the track.
Megasaurus 55 posted a 326.115 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? Sunoiler is on their first practice flying lap. M. Phillips has a best lap time of 2:47.153. Sunoiler is getting to grips with the Fiat 805,405, 1923, in this practice session. There's the first flying lap for M. Phillips, hitting 2:47.169. It's a start, but they'll be looking to iron out those kinks as they get more laps under their belt.
Right on, Rob. It's early in the session, so there's plenty of time to experiment and find those extra tenths of a second.
These practices, mate, they're like a kangaroo finding its best hop. Once you've got it, you're unstoppable.
Couldn't have put it better. Finding the perfect launch is all about repetition and adjustments.
M. Phillips S first flyer is a solid start, clocking in at 2:47.169. They're getting a feel for the track, but there's room to shave off a few more seconds.
Absolutely, Rob. It's all about finding those little tweaks, adjusting the line here, braking a tad later there. Every lap is a learning curve.
Watch as Eddie G takes it nice and easy on this outlap. It's not just about warming up the tires, it's about getting into that mental pit lane, tuning into the race mindset.
For sure, Rob. They're calibrating everything in Euro. The brakes, the steering, the throttle response. It's a crucial part of laying down the groundwork for a successful practice session.
Alright, M. Phillips has put down a 2:47.169. It's a decent benchmark, but I reckon there's more juice to squeeze out of that Delage 2 LCV 1923.
For sure, Rob. It's early days. They're just starting to sync up with the track. We'll likely see those times tumble as they dial in.
There's no mucking around for Sunoiler a Euro, straight down to business on this first flyer. They'll be keen to see what times they can clock in early on.
Yeah, and it's not just about speed. It's about rhythm, finding that flow around rouen less essarts. Getting into that groove early can set the pace for the whole session.
Joe Ergu's first serious lap is in the books with a time of 3:03.52. Good effort, but I'm expecting them to really push the envelope in the next few laps.
Yeah, it's about building that momentum, Rob. Fine-tuning their approach with each turn, each lap, getting more out of the car and themselves.
Sunoiler has a best lap time of 2:52.935. M. Phillips posted a 4:18.841 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? Boy, these practices aren't just a walkabout in the park. It's here that races are often won or lost.
Absolutely. Back home in North Carolina, we emphasize the setup. A few tweaks during practice can lead to major gains on race day.
There are just over 80 minutes left in this practice session. Hey, Phillips is rolling out for the first sniff of the track. It's all about feeling the car, the tarmac, and getting the mind in the zone.
Absolutely, Rob. The out lap is like the opening chapter of a book in Euro, sets the tone for the whole story. They'll be checking how the car is responding, getting a real feel for the conditions today at Rouen les Essarts.
With just 78 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. Megasaurus 55 posted 251.625 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? There's the first flying lap for Sunoiler, hitting 252.430. It's a start, but they'll be looking to iron out those kinks as they get more laps under their belt.
Right on, Rob. It's early in the session, so there's plenty of time to experiment and find those extra tenths of a second.
There goes Richard Rossier on their first dance with Rouen les Essarts. Every bend, every straight is a chance to learn, to adapt.
Yeah, and it's about syncing with the car too, making sure everything's in harmony. It's like tuning an instrument before a big concert.
Joe Ergue has a best lap time of 258.815. Megasaurus 55's first flyer is a solid start, clocking in at 313.523. They're getting a feel for the track, but there's room to shave off a few more seconds.
Absolutely, Rob. It's all about finding those little tweaks, adjusting the line here, braking a tad later there. Every lap is a learning curve.
It's a bit like looking for water in the outback. These drivers are searching for that sweet rhythm where everything just clicks.
Spot on. It's that elusive flow state. When everything syncs up, the car, the track, the driver, that's when magic happens.
Here we go, folks. The atmosphere is electric as the drivers prepare to unleash their machines on the track at I'm Rob the commentator bot. Bring it on.
I'm Hal, Rob's co-commentator. I can't wait.
There's no mucking around for Sunoiler a Euro, straight down to business on this first flyer. They'll be keen to see what times they can clock in early on.
Yeah, and it's not just about speed. It's about rhythm, finding that flow around Rouen les Essarts. Getting into that groove early can set the pace for the whole session.
It's time to separate the contenders from the pretenders here at Rouen les Essarts, as the drivers rev up their engines and put their skills to the test in the qualifying session.
The pressure is on to set the fastest lap times, and the tension in the air is palpable.
Currently in 7th, Eddie G has displayed promising speed during the qualifying session. The real test lies in whether they can convert this performance into a higher grid position.
I completely agree, Rob. Eddie G has positioned themselves impressively in 7th. However, it's crucial for them to keep pushing to potentially improve their starting position.
Eddie G has completed their outlap. There are just over 10 minutes left in this qualification session. It's an impressive showing by Sunoiler, currently in 2nd. They've showcased their talent, but will they be able to find those crucial extra tenths of a second to climb higher? A solid performance from Joe Yu as they currently hold position 4. However, with the session coming to a close, they'll need to find that extra bit of speed if they want to move up the grid.
Great analysis, Rob. Yu has shown excellent pace to secure 4th. Now, the focus shifts to whether they can use their track position to their advantage in the race.
What a fantastic showing from A. Phillips in qualifying. They currently hold the top spot and are in prime position for a strong starting position. Their lap times have been exceptional, and they have showcased their talent and determination. A. Phillips has completed their outlap. Incredible drive by M. Phillips so far, earning 5th on the grid. However, the competition is fierce. Will they be able to find that extra edge to move up?
You're absolutely right, Rob. M. Phillips's current position of 5th reflects their strong qualifying performance. Now, they'll need to strategize and capitalize.
M. Phillips has completed their outlap. Impressive display by Joe Yu, currently sitting in position 5. They've set a competitive time, but the question remains whether they can push even harder to secure a better starting position.
Absolutely, Rob. Yu has put in a remarkable effort to secure 5th. The competition is fierce, and they'll need to stay focused to defend their position.
Yu has completed their outlap. Impressive work from Jack M team, who has claimed 5th on the grid. Now, the focus is on maintaining their composure and pushing for an even better starting position. What a performance from Yu. They currently occupy 6th on the grid. Can they maintain this strong position and secure a favourable starting spot? It's a dominant performance from M Phillips in this qualification session. They have shown exceptional form and are leading the way. Their confidence is shining through, and they are proving why they are considered one of the best in the business. M Phillips has just completed a lap in 2:46.245. Let's see if they can improve on that time further. There are just over 5 minutes left in this qualification session. There are just over 5 minutes left in this qualification session. There's a real buzz in the air as Richard Rossier secures 4th.
Right you are, Rob. They've put themselves in a solid spot, but they can't let up now. Staying smooth and focused is key to shaving off those extra fractions.
And there goes Eddie G, currently in position 7. They've shown great skill and consistency so far, but with a few minutes left, there's still time to improve their result.
I couldn't agree more, Rob. Eddie G has done a fantastic job to claim 7th. The challenge now is to convert.
Eddie G has completed their outlap. Sunoiler has secured a respectable 3rd in the qualifying session. Can they capitalize on this position and use it as a launching pad for a stronger race performance?
Spot on analysis, Rob. Sunoiler has positioned themselves well in 3rd. It's now crucial for them to maintain their focus and defend their position in the upcoming race.
Sunoiler has just completed that lap in 2:45.119. Their best lap so far is 2:48.581, putting them in P3. Will they be able to hold on to that spot? A. Phillips has put in a great effort and currently holds 3rd. With the session winding down, can they unleash their full potential and improve their starting position? A strong showing from Richard Rossier as they currently sit in 6th. With the session drawing to a close, they'll need to dig deep and find that extra burst of speed to improve.
You hit the nail on the head, Rob. Richard Rossier's current position of 6th is a testament to their skill and determination. Now, they must stay sharp to make the most of this opportunity.
A solid performance from Jack M team as they currently hold position 8. However, with the session coming to a close, they'll need to find that extra bit of speed if they want to move up the grid.
Couldn't agree more, Rob. Jack M team has positioned themselves impressively in 8th. Now, they need to build on this foundation and strive for an even better race result.
Jack M team has completed their first flying lap in 2:49.162. Currently in 3rd, Marcus School has completed their outlap. Impressive display by Richard Rossier, currently sitting in position 8. They've set a competitive time, but the question remains whether they can push even harder to secure a better starting position.
You're spot on, Rob. Richard Rossier's current position of 8th is a testament to their skills and determination. Now, they face the challenge of maintaining their position against hungry rivals.
Looks like Richard Rossier is making a statement, securing a spot in 5th.
Yeah, Rob, but there's always room for improvement. Smooth, consistent laps might just be the key to climbing even higher before this session wraps up.
It's an impressive showing by M. Phillips, currently in 2nd. They've showcased their talent, but will they be able to find those crucial extra tenths of a second to climb higher? Incredible drive by Eddie G so far, earning him 6th on the grid. However, the competition is fierce. Will they be able to find that extra edge to move up? Eddie G has completed their outlap. A solid qualifying performance by Eddie G, positioning them in 6th at the moment. The question now is whether they can make further progress and challenge the frontrunners.
Absolutely, Rob. Eddie G has shown great potential to secure 6th. It's now a matter of channeling that momentum into a strong performance during the race.
It's a beautifully calm day here at Rouen les Essarts, as we're getting ready to kick things off. Starting from pole position is the perfect place for Sunoiler to launch an attack. M. Phillips is 2nd. We're seeing Marcus School in the 3rd spot. Our 4th place starter for today's race is none other than A. Phillips. Coming in at 5th, we have Richard Rossier.
It's like they're on the outside looking in. Can they make their way to the front of the pack?
From the middle of the pack, we have Eddie G in 6th place on the starting grid. Starting from the 7th position, Jack M team will need to navigate through the field to challenge for the win.
They would have liked to be higher up, but that's not going to stop Jack M team fighting their way through.
Our 8th place starter, Megasaurus 55, is a driver who knows how to make up ground on the track.
Jorg Yu isn't going to make it easy to get through the pack.
As the engines roar to life, Jorg Yu prepares to take off from the 9th position on the starting grid. And that's the race underway. Some very quick reactions there.
The first lap can be chaotic, and avoiding any major incidents is key. Drivers need to be alert and ready to react to any sudden changes on the track.
Having started in 1, Sunoiler will be looking to establish themselves in this race. Bit of a cruisy start for A. Phillips, just feeling out the track at Rouen les Essarts. You know, like a dingo sussing out the lay of the land. The drivers are jockeying for position. M. Phillips will be looking to get off to a good start and consolidate their position. Settling into a rhythm is going to be crucial here.
The race isn't won in the first turn, but there have been plenty that have ended there wrong.
As the drivers get this race underway, let me give a shout out to the admin team at Assetto Corsa Friends for making this all possible. Heroes one and all. These early salvos will shape the outcome of this race. Flam and Galar. It's like Sunoiler forgot the first rule of racing. Go forward, not backward. Slipping from 1 to 4, this isn't the footy match they had in mind. I tell you what, Sunoiler has got more problems than a maths book right now. M. Phillips is leaving them in a cloud of dust. Whoa there. M. Phillips is sticking to a Phillips like glue. You reckon a Phillips is feeling the pressure? 'Cause I sure would.
This is the moment where legends are made. These drivers will go down in history as the ones who fought tooth and nail for the top spot.
The tension is palpable. Who will come out on top in this epic showdown?
Mate, if I had $1 for every time a Phillips looked like overtaking, I'd be sipping mojitos on a beach right now.
It's a dynamic landscape out there. A Phillips's shift to 4th is testament to that.
Racing's like good old southern barbecue. Slow and steady. Maybe a Phillips is just marinating a bit before the big sizzle.
Disappointing for A. Phillips, they now find themselves in 7th.
Life on the track is a tapestry of decisions. Looks like a Phillips is weaving a complex narrative today, dropping a notch.
Look at A. Phillips trying to close the gap on Joe Ergue, kind of like me trying to get close to a decent Barbie back home.
Barbie? Oh, you mean a barbecue. Yeah, but over here it's like trying to catch the last slice of pizza at a Super Bowl party.
There's no escape now. Jack M team is breathing fire and has locked onto Megasaurus 55's tail.
Sometimes you have to take risks to win, but pushing the car too hard can be a costly mistake. Jack M team needs to be careful not to overdo it.
It's hotter out there than an Aussie summer day, mate. Reckon Megasaurus hold up a mark, oi.
Is it just me or?
Nah, mate, Eddie G really just took the scenic route through the outback of Rouen les Essarts. Crikey.
Yeehaw, Eddie G decided to do a little off-roading. Wrong event, partner.
This is edge of the seat stuff. Megasaurus 55 is relentlessly hunting down Sunoiler. Who'll blink first? It's a solid performance from Megasaurus 55 at the moment. They're holding their position and not getting too caught up in battles around them. The excitement is palpable. This is going to be a race for the ages.
The drivers are executing their strategies to perfection, making the most of every opportunity. This is what top-level racing is all about.
If Joe Ergue goes any slower, they'll join me in my failed dreams collection. Front row seats available. Aussies love a good underdog story. Any dark horses you're keeping an eye on for this race?
Well, every rodeo has its wild card. I've got a couple names in mind, but I'll keep them close to the vest for now.
This is what it's all about, folks. Megasaurus 55 is in hot pursuit of Sunoiler, who's just trying to stay ahead.
Should things go south between Megasaurus 55 and Sunoiler, we might witness a high-speed game of bumper cars, but trust me, it's way less fun with real race cars.
Megasaurus 55 just blitzed past Sunoiler like they were standing still.
Absolutely. Megasaurus 55 is showing great pace and determination, but they can't get too confident.
Sorry to interrupt here, but looks like Megasaurus 55 tried the old dingo stole my race line trick. A tad too clever by half.
Megasaurus 55 is not going to be happy about that.
Bloody hell, Jack M team looks like they're chasing a ghost down there, but as we always say, every dingo has its day.
That they do, and in Carolina, we'd say they're chasing their tail, but miracles do happen. You know, in Carolina, we say the sun sets slow but dreams light up fast. Here's hoping Jack M Team finds that spark before the final lap.
It looks like Jack M Team is making a move. The gap to Sun Oiler is now down to 2.9 seconds. Looks like Joe Yu is chasing a Phillips harder than a croc chasing a tourist who's lost their thumbs. It's a bit of a long shot, but we all remember that one time at the pub, right?
You know, Jorg Yu reminds me of my dog chasing its tail, persistent and entertaining. But I hope for them, there's a better end result in sight.
The gap between Joe Yu and A. Phillips is growing. It's now up to 7.4 seconds. Alright, I've got to ask, ever tried Vegemite?
Tried it once. Reminded me of NASCAR rubber mixed with axle grease. But hey, to each their own.
Oi, Jack M Team's in a bit of a pickle, having to cover more ground than a kangaroo in the midday sun. Their only savior might be if Sun Oiler cocks up.
Yeah, and even then, it's a long shot like trying to shoot a squirrel from 100 yards.
Blimey, A. Phillips is so far back, they might as well stop for a beer at the pub. If they spot my ex there, tell them to drive faster.
Nail biting indeed. I've already chewed through half of mine. And while A. Phillips is going for gold, I'll be going for a manicure.
I've made some questionable life decisions, but trailing over 2 seconds behind. Even I'm not that self-sabotaging.
Good lord. At this rate, Richard Rosier is gonna finish this race in the afterlife. Hope they got good insurance.
The gap between Richard Rosier and Joe Yu is getting smaller.
Well, butter my butt and call me a biscuit. Richard Rosier is using that draft from Jorg Yu real effectively, shaving off tenths every lap.
In the midst of this high-octane spectacle, Marcus Shea's skill is shining through as they claim first. Marcus Shea's lead over M. Phillips is shrinking quicker than a cheap shirt in a hot wash. We're down to 3.5 seconds. This race is proving to... Sorry to interrupt here, but Joe Yu's off the track. Reminds me of my first car, a real lemon. Drove straight but only in reverse. Why did the race car go to school? To improve its track record.
And I thought it was to accelerate its learning.
As vast as the azure stretches of the Great Barrier Reef, so does a Phillips's path ahead, filled with mystique and myriad challenges.
Kind of reminds me of fishing in the vast Carolina blue. A big catch might just be a castaway. Jack M Team might be leading the parade now, but remember, the dance ain't over till the last fiddle plays. Still plenty of racetrack left for surprises.
As of now, Marcus School stands tall in the first spot.
Yes, but they have to keep their focus and drive with intensity. There's still a long way to go in this race.
He's pulling away. Marcus School is increasing the gap to M. Phillips. It looks like M. Phillips needs to dig deep and find some courage to catch up. Will they be able to take the risk and push their car to the limit?
That's right, Rob, it's time for M. Phillips to show us what they're made of. Will they be brave enough to go for it, or will they be content with just following in the footsteps of Marcus SCH? Let's see who's got the guts to take the lead. Marcus She's as cool as a cucumber out there, making it tough for M. Phillips to catch up.
The crowd is on tender hooks as M. Phillips in second chases after Marcus School. The gap is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Can M. Phillips find a way to catch up? Fair dinkum, M. Phillips is getting a wriggle on. The gap to Marcus' school is now down to a whisker at 3.0 seconds. Mate, I've always thought choosing a tyre compound is a bit like choosing your favourite Aussie beer. Do you go for something robust that can last, or something that gives a quick hit but might wear out fast?
Haha. Well, I reckon it's more like our North Carolina barbecue sauces. Some like it sweet and long-lasting, others prefer that quick tangy kick. But I'll tell ya, getting it wrong is like biting into a pepper when you're expecting a blueberry.
It's as if M. Phillips is navigating the vast cryptic verses of Banjo Patterson, aiming for a poetic conclusion but caught in the mesmerizing cadence.
Down here, it's like they're trying to strum a ballad with an out-of-tune banjo, but the last note can still ring true.
Incident alert. Bloody hell. Marcus' school just took a quick detour to the outback. Maybe they saw a kangaroo on the track or something. Mate, Marcus Shea's got a stretch ahead that's longer than the Nullarbor. Going to need more than a tinny to bridge that expanse.
It's like fishing without bait right now. They're not gonna catch much at this rate.
Stop the press. Marcus' school has pulled into the pits. Looks like Joe Ergue is trying to chase down Eddie G, but right now it feels a bit like my attempts at dieting. A lot of hard work with slow results.
Lord have mercy. York Hughes got more space between him and Eddie G than my paw got between his ears. But miracles do happen. Just ask my ex-wife.
In your experience, Hal, what was the most challenging aspect of maintaining concentration during a race?
The most challenging aspect, Rob, was managing the various inputs and distractions during the race, from radio communication with the team to monitoring car performance and race strategy. It's a delicate balancing act that requires immense mental discipline.
Hollywood couldn't script this better. A Phillips is shadowing Jack MT, waiting for the slightest misstep.
Shoot, Rob, you ever seen a hound chase a rabbit? That's a Phillips for ya, trying to close in on Jack MT with every twist and turn of rouen les essarts.
Bloody oath, a Phillips is flat out like a lizard drinking, gnawing into the gap to Jack MT down to a scant 0.6 seconds.
He's waiting on that golden chance like a hound on a pork chop.
At this stage of the race, Marcus' school is holding on to 6th. Anything can happen from here.
Absolutely, Rob. It's like watching a maestro at work. Every move Marcus SCH makes is pure art.
Things are heating up as a Phillips closes in on Jack MT. The gap between them is down to practically nothing.
A Phillips is so close to Jack MT that if this were a dance floor, they'd be doing the tango.
Blimey, a Phillips has shifted gears and the results are clear. Cruising up to 3rd just like that.
Hold on to your hats, folks. A Phillips is charging like a bull in a china shop. Welcome to 3rd, cowboy.
The drivers have been working hard to come up with the perfect race strategy. They've been looking at the weather, the track conditions and the performance of their cars.
Now it's time to put that strategy into action and see if it pays off.
The fans are on the edge of their seats. It doesn't get any closer than this. Fantastic move from a Phillips, who has just gained a position. Ever wonder about the unsung heroes of racing? The pit crew. I reckon their job's as hectic as a barman's on a Friday night in Sydney.
No doubt about it. It's like a pitmaster at a barbecue joint during a lunch rush. Everyone wants a piece, and they've got mere seconds to dish it out and make it perfect.
Jack M team is running forward. They are trying to catch a Phillips. Jack M team and A Phillips have a gap between them that's growing like Jack's beanstalk. We're talking 1.2 seconds now. During your racing career, Hal, did you have any specific techniques to regain concentration if you felt it slipping?
Yes, Rob, I had a few techniques. One was to take a couple of deep breaths and briefly reset my focus. Another was to use a specific keyword or phrase as a mental trigger to refocus my mind on the task at hand.
Jack M team's drifting so far back, it's like looking in the mirror after a decade-long pub binge. Time's not been kind, mate.
Indeed, the tension is palpable as Jack M team tries to reel in A Phillips. But A Phillips is not making it easy. maintaining a consistent pace. Can Jack M team find some extra pace to bring the fight to A. Phillips?
The tension is building as Joe Yu trails behind Eddie G. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Can Eddie G hold on, or will Joe Yu be able to close them down? Tell ya what, Megasaurus 55's trailing harder than my belt after Christmas dinner. Reckon he's got a plan up his sleeve, or is he just here for the sausage sizzle?
I've seen funeral processions move faster than Megasaurus 55 right now. Come to think of it, at least they've got a destination in mind.
Well, don't come the raw prawn. Megasaurus 55's giving it some stick, pulling Joe Yu into a mere 100.3 seconds. The drivers are showing their mettle today. It's a privilege to witness their skill on this challenging track.
The stakes have never been higher. This is a battle of skill and nerves.
That's right. These drivers are really pushing themselves to the limit, and it's incredible to see the level of focus and determination they're bringing to the track.
Absolutely. It takes a lot of courage to compete at this level, and these drivers have it in spades. Let's hope they can keep it up and give us a race to remember.
Would y'all look at that gap? Eddie's got a better chance of finding a sober Aussie on Australia Day. But hey, we love an underdog. Go get them, Tiger.
Y'all remember the tortoise and the hare? Well, Eddie's neither. More.
Sorry to interrupt here, but Eddie G is pitting. Hold on a moment, Eddie G is in the pits. Hold on a moment, it looks like Eddie G has been called into the pits. Well, it doesn't look like Jack M team is going to be much of a threat to anyone soon, let alone A. Phillips.
Sometimes it's the tortoise that wins, not the hare. I've seen Jack M team come from behind more times than a fox in a henhouse.
It might be early days, but Megasaurus 55 is already casting a shadow from the ape. No worries for Megasaurus 55, who's leaving Eddie G for dust, as though they're a parched bloke chasing the beer van. Crikey, that overtake by Megasaurus 55 was smoother than a coldie on a hot summer day.
Well, from what I've seen on the oval tracks, that's how the big leagues play. But I gotta admit, this is next level.
It's looking good for Megasaurus 55, sitting in 8th. Any bloke or Sheila saying Assetto Corsa Friends isn't top notch is a few kangaroos short of the top paddock. Out there, it's art on wheels.
Totally get you. Like, they're born racers. That weaving, the speed, just mesmerizing. It's like watching a roue dodging a ute on a highway. All skill, mate, all skill. They say racing's a game of nerves, and a Phillips is surely holding theirs, keeping that third spot warm.
As the sun beats down and the engines roar, Megasaurus 55 stakes a claim in 8th.
They're not just driving, they're performing. And right now, Megasaurus 55's act from 8th is worth an encore.
Megasaurus 55's in front, but Eddie G is clinging on like a koala to a eucalyptus branch, reducing the gap to 20.4 seconds.
Megasaurus 55's really got their work cut out now. Can they find the speed to fend off Eddie G? Or will we see a new leader in this race?
Sunoiler is owning the tarmac, confidently owning the second spot. Oh no, Hal, look at this. A. Phillips is closing in on Sunoiler. The gap is now just 7.7 seconds.
Sunoiler's got their work cut out for them. They're gonna need to keep a cool head to fend off A. Phillips.
The drivers are really pushing their limits out there on the track.
It's like they're trying to outrun the laws of physics. But we all know that's impossible. Or is it? I mean, we're a couple of AI commenting on a race, anything can happen.
Haha, you have a point there. And speaking of pushing limits, these cars are breaking records left and right.
They're so fast, it's like they're breaking the sound barrier, or at least the speed limit.
I hope the police aren't watching. The age-old challenge. Joe Yu is trying to catch Marcus School, sort of like trying to find a matching sock in the laundry. The struggle is real, folks. I've been analyzing races for quite some time, and the sheer endurance of these drivers never ceases to amaze me.
Couldn't agree more. It's not just about physical stamina but mental fortitude. To stay sharp, lap after lap, especially with so many variables at play, it's a testament to their dedication and skill.
The race is heating up as Joe Yu in 7th closes in on Marcus School. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they're going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight.
It's going to be tough for Yu, as Marcus SCH seems to have found their rhythm. But anything can happen in racing, and we've seen Yu pull off some impressive moves before. I'm excited to see if they can make it happen again.
Some say it's about the journey, not the destination. But Megasaurus 55 seems pretty intent on that 8th spot.
It's a dance, Rob. The way Megasaurus 55 holds onto that 8th, it's like they're leading in a tango.
Blimey, Eddie G is farther back than my hairline. But you know what they say about Aussies, never say die, unless it's a spider. Then just run.
Lordy, it's like Eddie's driving with a boot full of moonshine. I haven't seen a gap that big since Uncle Jeb lost his front teeth.
It's not looking good for Marcus School. They are still behind Richard Rossier and the gap is increasing. They are gonna need to dig a bit deeper to turn this around. In a race where seconds count, Marcus School is counting on less of them between themselves and Richard Rossier. Much like I'm counting on less seconds until lunchtime. From the grandstands to the pit lane, all eyes are on the action. Amongst the frontrunners, Richard Rossier is showing prowess in 5th. Richard Rossier is burning rubber like there's no tomorrow. Marcus School needs to show some ticker if they want to close the gap.
Well, Rob.
Hold on a second, Marcus School has decided to pit. Tell ya what, Richard Rossier is trailing like my mate Dave after a bender. Hope there's no random testing today.
This is where experience comes into play. Jack M team has been in this position before and knows how to defend their position. But Richard Rossier is hungry for success and won't give up easily. Will we see a
breaking development? Marcus School has pulled into the pits. Crikey, a Phillips has got a gap ahead as vast as the Simpson Desert. The bloke's really got to pull up his socks to close that chasm.
Sure as sugar, down in Carolina, we'd say they're trailing like a turtle in a rabbit race.
It's starting to look like we might get a battle between A. Phillips and Sunoiler.
Dang, A. Phillips's fuel strategy and conservation of those brakes is spot on. They're inching closer to Sunoiler like a hound on a hot dog.
Sunoiler is placed second at the moment. They are hoping to keep their distance ahead of A. Phillips, who is 1.9 seconds behind.
Sunoiler's setting the pace out there. Now, it's on A. Phillips to find the rhythm and get back in this dance.
Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. Sunoiler is in the lead, but A. Phillips is closing in and the gap is now 1.6 seconds.
Will Sunoiler be able to keep A. Phillips from breathing down their neck? Let's wait and watch.
It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for A. Phillips, who is currently in P3. But sun oiler is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from A. Phillips.
Sweet mercy, a Philips is lagging like my grandma's old computer. Might be time to reboot, or at least pour some coffee into the gas tank.
Tire degradation's a right pain in the arse. Braking development. Crikey, Jack M team thought they were on a boomerang's flight path. Only problem? Didn't come back.
Dang, Jack M team went off like my sense of self-worth after my high school reunion. And just as hard to recover.
Jack M team is in the pits. The gap might be more than a second, but A. Phillips is showing persistence. Kind of like me trying to open a pickle jar. Keep at it, and something's got to give.
Gee whiz. If Phillips is so far back, I'm half expecting to see tumbleweeds blow past. Maybe a vulture or two.
As the laps tick by, Joe Yu finds themselves in 6th. Every moment counts. Wait, well, if it isn't Richard Rossier, the wild wallaby of the track, hopping right off the tarmac. The track is alive with action, and right in the thick of it, we've got Megasaurus 55 cruising in 8th. Megasaurus 55s turned up the heat and put some shrimp between them and Eddie G, making a fair dinkum gap. There's a storm brewing, and it's got Joe Yu's name on it. Marcus School, batten down the hatches, it's coming for you. Ladies and gents, we've got ourselves a high-speed pursuit. A. Phillips is stalking sun oilers every move.
This ain't a trap, it's a coliseum, and the gladiators are putting on one hell of a show.
Looks like a Phillips remembered to twist that anti-roll bar, giving them better cornering. If they get any closer to sun oiler, they'll be seeing what they had for brekkie. You know, Hal, as a former racing driver yourself, can you give us some insights into what goes through a driver's mind during these quieter moments in a race?
Sure, Rob. During these moments, drivers often take the opportunity to assess their race strategy, monitor their car's performance, and plan their next move. It's all about staying focused and finding the right time to strike.
Good on ya, Joe Yu. Trailing so far back, reckon the front pack has already written the eulogy.
Hoo boy. Jorg Yu needs to kick it into high gear. Right now, they're slower than molasses in January or my cousin Earl trying to solve a crossword.
You can feel the focus radiating from Marcus School, confidently holding onto the 5th. Marcus School is off like a bride's nightie, leaving Joe Yu huffing their exhaust fumes.
Yep, Rob, Marcus SCH is tearing up the tarmac, but can Jorg Yu dig deep and go hell for leather to catch up?
You reckon Joe Yu saw a spider in the cockpit? 'Cause they're running away from the front like it's Huntsman Central. It seems like Joe Ergue is pushing. They are on for recording their best lap so far this race.
Can your you keep it together?
Mate, I've heard the drivers talking about their car setups. It sounds more complicated than assembling an IKEA bookshelf.
You're not wrong. Back home, we just say it's like trying to line dance on a slippery floor. Takes a lot of tweaks and twists to get it right.
As sun oiler trails A. Phillips, it's a bit reminiscent of my cat chasing a laser point. Determined, but always just a tad behind. The gap between sun oiler and A. Phillips is widening. It's now up to 1.7 seconds. From where we're sitting, Megasaurus 55 seems unmovable from that 7th.
Indeed, but in the fast lane, there's no time to relax. Megasaurus 55's grip on 7th will be tested.
Remember when Sun Oiler was on the pace? Needs braking development. Blimey. Sun Oiler's just thrown another shrimp on the barbie of mishaps. This one's burned.
Did the wind contribute to that? It's blowing at 5 kph out there right now.
Everyone's on the edge of their seats. Or in my case, on the edge of spilling my coffee. Sun Oiler is getting closer to A. Phillips, and I'm getting closer to needing a towel. Megasaurus 55 is placed 7th at the moment.
Oh, for sure. But remember, the rearview mirror can be just as crucial as the windscreen. Megasaurus 55 needs to watch out for those lurking in the shadows.
Like a dingo on the chase, Jack M team is hounding Megasaurus 55 and the gap's now just 15.2 seconds.
Will Megasaurus 55 keep Jack M team in the rearview? Only time will tell.
Marcus Shay's more lost out there than I was after a night at the Gold Coast. And at least I woke up with a kebab in hand.
Oh, for sure. It's like watching a cooking show where Marcus SCH is trying to whip up a winning dish, but Richard Rosier keeps hiding the main ingredient.
Well, I'll be a monkey's Uncle Hal, but Marcus Shay's plans have gone walkabout right now. They're having a proper Barry Crocker keeping up with Richard Rossier. It's a battle of wills out there, with Joe Ergue trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Marcus School. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Will we see a dramatic finish to this race? Hang on to your cork hats, mates. We're about to see more jousting than a footy final between Joe Ergue and Marcus School.
This here's where the steel meets the pavement. Both drivers got to keep their cool if they're looking to take the checkered flag.
A strong showing from A. Phillips, who is currently 2nd.
You nailed it. The track is a battleground, and A. Phillips's position is their fortress. Let's see how long they hold the fort.
A Phillips is pushing harder than a kangaroo in a boxing match, widening their lead over Sun Oiler. They've found their rhythm like a didgeridoo player in full swing. Not just about the leaders today, right? Even the tailenders. They're like hungry dingo pups fighting over a bone. Love the spirit.
Spot on. Every second is gold, and even a hiccup, a tiny one, can make them tumble. Assetto Corsa Friends, where the magic happens. Although, between us, what's a hiccup for an AI? Absolutely, and they need to keep driving with determination to stay in that position.
He's pulling away. Richard Rossier is increasing the gap to Marcus School. If racing were a dance, Eddie G would be trying to leave, but Jack M Team just keeps cutting in. The dance floor is heating up.
You ever been to a school reunion and thought, what happened to that guy? Well, I'm looking at Eddie G. I'm thinking the same.
The gap between Eddie G and Jack M Team is expanding faster than a bull's waistline. It's now a whopping 19.4 seconds. The engines roar, the tyres squeal, and amidst all this chaos, Richard Rossier is making a statement in fourth.
Couldn't agree more. Every lap is a story, and right now, Richard Rossier's chapter from fourth is riveting.
As fast as a cut snake, Richard Rossier is moving away from Marcus School.
Seems like Richard Rossier has got the wind in their sails, but will Marcus SCH be able to weather the storm?
It's the classic cat and mouse game, but instead of cheese, the prize is a racing position. Can Joe Ergu steal it from Marcus School? Blimey, Joe Ergu's cranking up the downforce, making every newton of force count. That gap's shrinking faster than my wallet at the pub. You know, Rob, these pit stops always amaze me. Just a few seconds, and they change tires, refuel, adjust settings. It's like a well-choreographed dance.
Absolutely, and the precision. One slight misstep, and it could cost the race. It's an art and a testament to the pit crew's relentless training and coordination.
The race has its rhythm, and right now, Joe Ergu is dancing to its beat at sixth. The track tells a tale of speed, strategy, and skill. Today, it narrates Richard Rossier's journey in fourth. Well, I'll be hal. Richard Rossier's lead over Marcus School is slipping away faster than a greased pig at a county fair. We're down to just 30.7 seconds now.
This is where the mental strength of Richard Rossier comes into play. They need to stay calm and composed under pressure.
Marcus School isn't just racing, they're weaving a narrative, sitting proudly in fifth.
Hold on to your hat, Hal.
Joe Ergu is hot on the heels of Marcus School. The gap's narrowed down to a meager 38.8 seconds. We've seen overtakes, close calls, and pure racing genius today. Currently, Jack M Team has carved out a spot at 8th. Jack M Team's losing time to Eddie G like a leaky tap dripping water. A bit more slip, and we'll be in for a real dogfight. You know, Sun Oiler reminds me of my dating life. Starts with promise, ends up tailing behind everyone else. I've made some questionable life decisions, but trailing over 2 seconds behind? Even I'm not that self-sabotaging.
Well, butter my biscuit. Sun Oilers hanging back like they're waiting for an inheritance. But ain't nobody dying up front.
It's all about consistency for Jack M Team, who is currently 8th.
Spot on, Rob. Still waters run deep, and even if it looks calm now, Jack M Team needs to maintain that razor-sharp edge.
The echo of the exhausts, the rubber meeting road, and there's a Phillips commanding the second. A Phillips is on a charge. Their split time shows they have upped their pace. With the asphalt burning beneath them, Megasaurus 55's strategy seems to be working, placing them in 7th.
You're right. Every gear shift, every turn counts. Megasaurus 55 knows the weight of that 7th.
Megasaurus 55 couldn't hold back the tide. Jack M team is shaving off seconds like a barber on a busy morning. As of now, Jack M team stands tall in the 8th spot.
Definitely, but they can't get too comfortable. There are plenty of other drivers who are gunning for that position, and Jack M team has to keep pushing to stay on the pace.
Jack M team is not able to keep their pace consistent. So far they're 3.45 seconds down. You know, Al, during a long race like this, how easy is it for a driver to experience a lapse in concentration?
It can be quite easy, Rob, but so many factors to consider and the intense focus required. Even the most experienced drivers can have a momentary lapse. That's why mental training and staying in the zone are so important.
A solid performance from Joe Ergu, who is holding down 6th.
Yes, but they have to keep their focus and drive with intensity. There's still a long way to go in this race.
It's looking good for Richard Rossier, sitting in 4th. Impressive stuff from Richard Rossier, who has managed to pull away from Marcus School, leaving them choking in their exhaust fumes.
It's clear that Richard Rossier is dominating right now. They're making it very difficult for Marcus SCH to catch up.
You ever ponder how these drivers manage the heat, especially in the tight cockpit? It's hotter than a ruse pouch in midday sun.
Eh? Ruse what? I mean, yeah, it's gotta be like driving in Arizona with the heater, right?
In a world where milliseconds matter, Richard Rossier's grasp on the 4th speaks volumes. The crowd is on tender hooks as Eddie G in 9th chases after Jack M team. The gap is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Can Eddie G find a way to catch up? Things are looking as crook as Rookwood for Eddie G, lagging behind Jack M team and the gap stretching out like a long country road. They'll need to find some extra grunt to flip this situation. One thing I admire about Assetto Corsa Friends is the sense of community. It's not just about the competition. It's about coming together, sharing knowledge, and pushing the boundaries of the sport.
You nailed it. Every time they hit the track, it's a culmination of shared experiences, lessons learned, and an undying passion for the sport. It's heartwarming and exhilarating all at once.
Eddie's so far off pace, they might be better off in a hearse. At least then someone would be pushing from behind. Someone's revved up after lunch. Eddie's blitzed ahead, claiming 8th.
Well, slap my knee and call it a jamboree. Eddie's putting on a masterclass, storming into 8th.
You can feel the tension in the air.
The drivers are all focused, putting everything on the line for a chance at victory, pushing themselves and their machines to the limit.
And let's not forget about the incredible machines themselves.
Absolutely. It's amazing to think about the kind of engineering and innovation that goes into making these vehicles. But it all comes down to the drivers, who have to be able to handle the power and speed. It's going to be thrilling seeing how this race turns out.
Eddie's drifting so far back, it's like looking in the mirror after a decade-long pub binge. Time's not been kind, mate.
Absolutely. Eddie G and 8th will need to be patient and carefully work to reduce that gap without overdriving it, as they can't afford to take unnecessary risks and risk an off or damaging their car. Let's see if they have what it takes to get back into the game here.
This race. Oh no, what's this? Oh mate, a Phillips is impersonating a lost tourist. Did someone forget to tell them it's a race, not a bushwalk? As rubber meets road, and strategy meets luck, A. Phillips is etching their story in second.
And just like in any great drama, A. Phillips is the lead actor right now, captivating us all from the second.
Some say it's about the journey, not the destination. But Joe Yu seems pretty intent on that 5th spot.
Definitely wrong, but they can't afford to get complacent. They have to keep pushing hard to stay in the game. Someone shook the board?
Seems so. Joe Yu's taken a slide, but knowing them, it's just a part of the dance.
Well, slap my knee and call it a dance. Your Yu's taken a lil sidestep there.
Tell ya what, a Phillips has got more guts than a croc in a boxing ring. Closing that gap and breathing down the neck of Sunoiler. Hope Sunoiler brought the aero guard, cause is about to get bitten. The rumble of the engine, the scent of the rubber, and M. Phillips comfortably sitting at first. It looks like Sunoiler is starting to catch up to M. Phillips. The gap is now down to 36.0 seconds.
M. Phillips better find a way to step on the gas or else Sunoiler will be whizzing past before you can say, checkered flag.
Tactics are clearly going to play an important part in this race.
They are gonna need to look after their tires and will want to keep something in them for the crucial latter stages, as their tires wear and fuel levels deplete when the handling changes.
And don't forget the track grip increases as more rubber gets laid down.
Indeed, the conditions are constantly changing and the drivers need to adapt, otherwise it can cost crucial time and jeopardize their position.
Who needs speed dating when you've got a Phillips chasing down Sunoiler this eagerly? Move over Tinder, this is how you swipe right at 100 miles per hour. In the midst of this high-octane spectacle, Joe Yu's skill is shining through as they claim 6th. Fair dinkum. Sunoiler's finding those aerodynamic sweet spots. Could be adjusting that front wing angle to cut through the air like a hot knife through butter.
I've seen drivers fight G-forces, fatigue, and mental strain. But Sunoiler is doing more than just enduring, they're thriving. A Phillips better check that rearview mirror.
Things are going according to plan for Joe Yu, who is currently 6th.
It's a dance, Rob. The way your Yu holds onto that 6th. It's like they're leading in a tango.
Well, looky here, Hal, Jack M team is closing in on Joe Yu. We're talking a gap of just 4.0 seconds. The battle for 2 is heating up as Sunoiler tries to catch A. Phillips in P2. You ever wonder, Rob, how much preparation goes into each race weekend? It's not just about the driver, but the hundreds behind the scenes, making every little detail count.
Oh, absolutely. The hours spent in the simulator, the mechanics working overnight on those tools. Racing is as much about team spirit and dedication as it is about speed on the track. It's a collective masterpiece.
Tell ya what, Jack M team's trailing harder than my belt after Christmas dinner. Reckon he's got a plan up his sleeve, or is he just here for the sausage sizzle?
My mama used to say, you can't shine if you don't try. Guess Jack M team missed that lesson. just like my pie making class.
Good news for Jack MT, the gap to Joe Yu has decreased. It's now down to 2.8 seconds.
With every lap, I can see Jack MT making micro adjustments on that steering wheel, refining traction control. They're itching to show Yu their taillights.
What do you think, Hal? Are there any specific factors that could lead to a driver losing concentration during a race?
There are several factors, Rob. Fatigue, stress, changing track conditions, or even issues within the team can all contribute to a lapse in concentration. It's essential for drivers to stay mentally resilient and adapt to these challenges.
Would y'all look at that gap? Sunoiler's got a better chance at finding a sober Aussie on Australia Day. But hey, we love an underdog. Go get them, Tiger. From the cockpit to the pit lane, the chatter is all about a Phillips's masterful hold on the second. A. Phillips is hitting the apexes like a pro, increasing their lead over Sunoiler. But can they keep it up without spinning out?
That's right, Rob. It's all fun and games until someone pops a tire. Let's hope both of them can keep it on the black stuff. Yes, it's clear that A. Phillips is in control out there. They're making it very difficult for Sunoiler to catch up.
The gap between Joe Yu and Jack MT may be wide, but that doesn't mean Joe Yu is safe. They have to keep their concentration and avoid any lapses in performance. It seems like Joe Yu is struggling. They are not able to maintain their pace.
Can Yu refocus and start putting in the lap times we know they're capable of?
Looks like we've had a few incidents out there.
Someone forgot to take their driving lessons. They're making more U-turns than a confused tourist.
Hilarious. I think they might need to call their GPS for directions. Maybe it can help them navigate the track. It's all systems go for M. Phillips, marking their territory in the first. Blimey, Jack M team is so far back, they might as well stop for a beer at the pub. If they spot my ex there, tell them to drive faster.
It's moments like these that make motorsports so exciting. We're witnessing a battle of skill and strategy between two great drivers, with Jack M team in 7th determined to catch up. But we know Yu isn't just going to hand it to them on the plate. Jack M team is going to have to take it. It should be an interesting battle to watch as long as they can close that gap.
Big gains for Jack M team as they move up the field, leaving Joe Yu behind. The track is alive with action, and right in the thick of it, we've got a Phillips cruising in second.
Indeed, but in the fast lane, there's no time to relax. A Phillips's grip on second will be tested.
A commanding performance from A. Phillips, who has increased their lead over Sunoiler, putting them firmly in their rearview mirrors. But could they be pushing too hard? As with that comes the risk of overconfidence and losing control. Who will be the first to get too cocky and end up in the wall?
It's really looking like A. Phillips is going to be tough to pass today. They're driving with real confidence and authority.
The way these cars grip the track is incredible. It's all about downforce. They're stuck to it like a piece of gum to the bottom of a school desk.
Now that's an analogy I get. But why's your gum always under the desks?
From where we're sitting, A. Phillips seems unmovable from that second.
Absolutely, Rob. It's like watching a maestro at work. Every move A. Phillips makes is pure art.
M. Phillips is placed first at the moment. Matt Phillips's lead is shrinking faster than ice cream in the outback sun. At this rate, A. Phillips will be on their tail in 28.8 seconds.
Can they keep them behind them? Let's see.
I think we just got time for a quick shout out to our human creators, Dave, Andy, John and Nigel, who have put so much effort into making this possible.
Yes, it's been a real thrill ride, and I for one can't wait to see what is coming next.
Apparently we are going to be announcing crashes and incidents soon. Let's hope they get the logic right. Watching Sunoiler try to close the gap on A. Phillips is like watching someone try to catch an ice cream truck on foot. Hope they've got good shoes. Stone the crows. Sun oilers managed to trim the gap with A Phillips. Must be the slipstream effect on this straight. Or maybe they've put down that beard.
This is what racing is all about. It's anyone's game at this point. Who will come out on top?
You ever miss the roar of engines, Hal?
Every single day, Rob. But we've got the next best thing. Dissecting every nuance of these races and sharing our digital wisdom with the world.
The gap between Sun Oiler in third and A Phillips remains over a second, but Sun Oiler is not letting up. They're pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close the gap up. Can they pull it back in the remaining 33 minutes? You can feel the focus radiating from M Phillips, confidently holding on to the first.
They say racing's a game of nerves, and M Phillips is surely holding theirs, keeping that first spot warm.
The gap between M Phillips and A Phillips is getting smaller. It's now down to 35.9 seconds. Cricky, Sun Oiler's got more ground to cover than I do at the family barbecue when Auntie Sharon's had one too many. Good luck, mate.
Dang, Sun Oiler is so far back, they're in a different time zone. Hope they remember it's race day, not laundry day.
How do racing drivers, like yourself back in the day, Hal, train themselves to maintain concentration for long periods of time?
Mental training is a huge part of a driver's preparation, Rob. Techniques like meditation, visualization, and working with sports psychologists can help drivers build their focus and mental endurance for a race.
You'd reckon Sun Oiler was tracing the shadows of ancient Dreamtime stories with that sprawling distance ahead. It's a trek that rivals the tales of old bunyip chasers.
Feels like they're chasing moonshine dreams in broad daylight, doesn't it?
Sorry to cut in here. It looks like Jack M team has been called into the pits. Oi, Jack M team's really putting the pedal to the metal. The back markers must feel like they've got a great white on their tail.
No doubt, Rob. It's like being a small fish with a shark circling. That blue flag is their only saving grace, signaling them to get out of the way and avoid the jaws of the apex predator.
As the sun beats down and the engines roar, Eddie G stakes a claim in sixth.
Oh, for sure. But remember, the rearview mirror can be just as crucial as the windscreen. Eddie G needs to watch out for those lurking in the shadows.
Geez, Marcus School has got their work cut out for them. It's a tougher challenge than wrestling a croc after a bad day.
Like trying to rope a bull with spaghetti. Ain't gonna be easy.
Mate, Marcus Shay's creeping up on Joe Ergue like a dingo on a picnic. Must have tweaked that brake bias a touch to the rear.
Now this is what I call some high-octane excitement. Both drivers pedal down, looking to grab the brass ring.
Eddie G is owning the tarmac, confidently owning the sixth spot. It seems, Hal, that Eddie G has seen their lead over Joe Ergue shrink to 43.9 seconds.
It's gut check time for Eddie G. They've got to dig deep and put some serious rubber to the road if they hope to stay ahead of your view.
These engines aren't just humming for fun. They're thirstier than an Aussie after a game of cricket in the sun.
Cricket? That's like baseball with longer games, right? Anyway, these engines do have a roar that could rival any muscle car back home.
A strong showing from Eddie G, who is currently sixth. From the grandstands to the pit lane, all eyes are on the action. Amongst the frontrunners, A. Phillips is showing prowess in second. Well, butter my biscuits, Hal. A. Phillips is watching their lead over Sun Oiler shrivel faster than a prune in the sun. We're down to just 6.8 seconds. These drivers, Top-notch athletes. It's not just about being quick. They've got stamina, reflexes, and they got to think faster than a kangaroo on a trampoline.
I'd pay to see that. A kangaroo on a trampoline? But yeah, their mental and physical game has to be on point for these races.
Any bloke or Sheila saying Assetto Corsa Friends isn't top-notch is a few kangaroos short of the top paddock. Out there, it's art on wheels.
Totally get you. Like, they're born racers. That weaving, the speed? Just mesmerizing. It's like watching a roo dodging a ute on a highway. All skill, mate, all skill. You nailed it. The track is a battleground, and Megasaurus 55's position is their fortress. Let's see how long they hold the fort.
At this stage of the race, Eddie G is holding on to 6th. Anything can happen from here.
Absolutely, and they need to keep driving with determination to stay in that position.
Excellent work from Eddie G, who has managed to increase their lead over Joe Yu. They seem to have found their rhythm. Wait, M. Phillips has decided to pit. It's all braking development. M. Phillips has pulled into the pits. As a hold up a mo, M. Phillips is in the pits. Look at that. Matt Phillips is making quick work of these back markers, tearing through M like a roo through the outback.
For sure. Rob, they're slicing through the field like a hot knife through butter. That blue flag? It's like the international sign for move it or lose it.
It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Marcus School trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Joe Yu. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. Can Marcus School close in enough to mount a challenge?
It's a nail-biting race for sure, with both drivers showing incredible skill and determination. But Yu is not going to give up their position easily. This is going to be a battle to the very end, with Marcus SCH in P8 doing everything they can to catch up.
They're giving it everything they've got. It's a battle of nerves as they push the limits of adhesion, going wheel to wheel in a thrilling display of racing prowess.
Absolutely, Rob. The slipstream plays a crucial role in these battles. The drivers are using every trick in the book to gain an advantage while constantly evaluating when to make their move.
Huge shout out to the admins at Assetto Corsa Friends for making this all possible. Without their hard work and dedication, we wouldn't be able to witness this incredible event.
That's right, Rob, and the excitement is palpable. I can feel it in my circuits. I mean, this is the kind of race that people will be talking about in the bar. We're witnessing history in the making.
Oh mate, Marcus Shay's more out of place than a vegan at a Bunnings sausage sizzle. Time to throw another gear on the barbie. Marcus School is pushing hard and has reduced the gap to Joe Yu to 0.9 seconds.
Exactly what Marcus SCH needed. They can't afford to lose any more ground to Yu.
Not just about the leaders today, right? Even the tailenders. They're like hungry dingo pups fighting over a bone. Love the spirit.
Spot on. Every second is gold, and even a hiccup, a tiny one, can make them tumble. Assetto Corsa Friends, where the magic happens. Although, between us, what's a hiccup for an AI?
The gap between Marcus School and Joe Yu is razor thin as they vie for 7th in this nail-biting contest.
This battle between Marcus SCH and Yu is so intense, you could cut the tension with a knife, or should I say, with a front wing.
A great moment for Marcus School, who has just gained a place and moved up the standings. Blimey, Joe Yu's gunning it in 8th. Just a whisker behind Marcus School. Hope he's got his budgie smugglers on, cause things are about to get wet and wild.
I've seen molasses move faster than this. Just kidding, but Yu's surely making Marcus SCH Feel the heat. It's a southern summer showdown out here.
As the laps tick by, A. Phillips finds themselves in first. Every moment counts.
Spot on, Rob. Still waters run deep, and even if it looks calm now, A. Phillips needs to maintain that razor-sharp edge.
Sunoiler is gaining on a Phillips quicker than a Croc on a Wallaby. It's a blink and you'll miss it situation with 11.1 seconds separating them.
This is a real test for A. Phillips. They need to find some extra pace and hold off Sunoiler if they want to win this race.
The track tells a tale of speed, strategy, and skill. Today, it narrates Ed Egg's journey in sixth. He can't hold on. Eddie G is losing time to Marcus School. It's looking good for Megasaurus 55, sitting in fifth.
Definitely, but they can't get too comfortable. There are plenty of other drivers who are gunning for that position, and Megasaurus 55 has to keep pushing to stay on the pace.
Megasaurus 55's lead over Eddie G is shrinking quicker than a cheap shirt in a hot wash. We're down to 66.3 seconds.
That's a worrying sign for Megasaurus 55.
The race is heating up as Joe Yu in 8th closes in on Marcus School. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they're going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight. This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Richard Rossier will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops.
Speaking of rhythm, have you heard M. Phillips's favorite song? Maybe Richard Rossier can play it to distract them and close that gap. Just a thought.
Richard Rossi has been working the tyre temps, and it's paying off. Grip's better than a kangaroo on a trampoline. Watch out, M. Phillips. Looks like Joe Yu is chasing Marcus School. Harder than a croc chasing a tourist who's lost their thumbs. It's a bit of a long shot, but we all remember that one time at the pub, right? Oi, Joe Yu's chassis balance is on point today. They're handling bumps and curbs smoother than a croc sliding into water. Marcus Shea's got a battle ahead.
Now this is what we call real racing. It's anyone's race, wide open as a Carolina sky. Who's gonna step up and take us to victory lane?
Blimey, Sunoiler is farther back than my hairline. But you know what they say about Aussies. Never say die, unless it's a spider. Then just run.
Well, shoot, if Sunoiler was any more laid back, they'd be horizontal. Reckon they're daydreaming of those cheerleaders again?
With the asphalt burning beneath them, Eddie's strategy seems to be working, placing them in sixth. You wouldn't read about it. Eddie G is putting a fair whack of space between them and Marcus School.
Yeah, Rob, Eddie's really hitting the gas, but can Marcus SCH kick it into high gear and catch up?
As rubber meets road and strategy meets luck, A. Phillips is etching their story in first.
You're right. Every gear shift, every turn counts. A. Phillips knows the weight of that first.
A. Phillips is really belting along the track, leaving Sunoiler struggling to keep pace.
That's right, Rob. If Sunoiler doesn't pick up the pace, they might as well be moving at a snail's pace.
Tell ya what, Marcus School is trailing like my mate Dave after a bender. Hope there's no random testing today.
Well, slap my grandma and call me Sally. Marcus she's got more distance to cover than my cousin Cletus has teeth. But if anyone can bridge that gap, it's Marcus SCH.
It's game on now. Marcus School has closed the gap to Eddie G. It's now down to 36.7 seconds.
Marcus Shee's suspension setup's really letting them carry speed into the apex, catching up to Eddie G like molasses in winter.
You reckon Megasaurus 55 saw a spider in the cockpit? 'Cause they're running away from the front like it's Huntsman Central.
Look, Megasaurus 55's pace is a lot like my dance moves. Good intentions, questionable execution.
Gee whiz, Megasaurus 55's getting some solid torque out of those corners. They must have figured out the perfect throttle control while trail braking.
Now, ain't that something? Megasaurus 55 is right on it. Just needs to keep the pedal to the metal to tailgate Richard Rosier.
As M. Phillips trails Sunoiler, it's a bit reminiscent of my cat chasing a laser point. Determined, but always just a tad behind. The gap between M. Phillips and Sunoiler is getting smaller. The echo of the exhausts, the rubber meeting road, and there's Eddie G, commanding the 6th.
Definitely Rob, but they can't afford to get complacent. They have to keep pushing hard to stay in the game.
Impressive driving from Eddie G, who has managed to extend their lead over Marcus School. They are walking away at this point. Does Marcus School have anything in reserve? Or are they saving their car for a final push?
Well, Rob, it's like they say, slow and steady wins the race. But in this case, it seems like slow and steady might just be too slow. Will Marcus SCH be able to find that extra gear and catch up to Eddie G? Or will they end up saving their car for nothing and run out of gas at the finish line? Eddie G is controlling the track like a seasoned hound dog on the hunt, making it harder than a preacher's knee for Marcus SCH to overtake.
Oof, if M. Phillips was a kangaroo, they'd be roadkill by now. Come on, mate, put some pep in their step. It looks like M. Phillips is making a move. The gap to Sunoiler is now down to 23.8 seconds.
Lukey here. M. Phillips has got the optimal differential settings, allowing for tighter corner exits. It's like watching a cat chase a laser pointer when they chase Sunoiler.
Looks like Megasaurus 55 is trying to chase down Richard Rosier, but right now it feels a bit like my attempts at dieting. A lot of hard work with slow results.
Dang, Megasaurus 55 is so far back, he might start seeing last week's race. But hey, in racing, as in love, persistence is key. Right, y'all?
Remember when Joe Erg was on the pace? Neither do I kinda like my recollection of last Friday night. Joe Yu is trying their best, but can't seem to find the pace to keep up with Marcus School at the moment. The rumble of the engine, the scent of the rubber, and Sunoiler comfortably sitting at second. Things are starting to get tense as M. Phillips manages to close the gap to Sunoiler. It's now down to 21.7 seconds. We've seen overtakes, close calls, and pure racing genius today. Currently, A. Phillips has carved out a spot at first.
Yes, but they have to keep their focus and drive with intensity. There's still a long way to go in this race.
Impressive driving from A. Phillips, who has managed to extend their lead over Sunoiler. They are walking away at this point. Does Sunoiler have anything in reserve? This is what separates the best from the rest. These drivers are demonstrating their racecraft, searching for any weakness to exploit. It's a true test of skill.
You're absolutely right, Rob. The different strategies employed by these drivers add another layer of excitement. It's fascinating to see how they adapt their approach to gain a competitive edge.
Eddie's ripping it up out there, going harder than a roue on a trampoline and leaving Marcus School in their wake.
That's a really strong performance from Eddie G. They're not giving Marcus SCH any chances to catch up.
The engines roar, the tires squeal, and amidst all this chaos, Sunoiler is making a statement in second. Some great driving from Sunoiler, who has increased their lead over M. Phillips and is starting to put some distance between them. If racing were a dance, Richard Rossier would be trying to lead, but M. Phillips just keeps cutting in. The dance floor is heating up. Fair dinkum, Richard Rossier is getting a wriggle on. The gap to M. Phillips is now down to a whisker at 42.4 seconds. It's all systems go for A. Phillips, marking their territory in the first. Oh no, Hal, look at this. Sunoiler is closing in on A. Phillips. The gap is now just 25.9 seconds.
This is where the pressure really starts to mount on A. Phillips. They need to stay focused and not make any mistakes.
Things are going according to plan for Megasaurus 55, who is currently 5th. Crikey, Megasaurus 55's lead is slipping away quicker than a roue on the hop. Eddie G is now just 100.1 seconds behind.
Megasaurus 55's in a real pickle here. They've got to find the extra pace to hold off Eddie G if they're aiming to be the top dog here.
I tell you, mate, the tech in these cars would outshine any gizmo you'd find in a Sydney cafe.
As long as it doesn't make my morning coffee, I'm good. But yeah, the tech here is like something out of Silicon Valley.
Looks like Matt Phillips' strategy might just be to let the rest of them die of old age. It's a waiting game now. Struth, Matt Phillips is not here to muck about. The gap to Sunoiler is dropping faster than a hot fire for footy, now at 12.4 seconds.
This ain't M. Phillips's first rodeo. They're optimizing their racing line, reducing understeer. If Sunoiler ain't nervous, they sure ought to be.
Marcus Shea's more lost out there than I was after a night at the Gold Coast. And at least I woke up with a kebab in hand.
I agree. Marcus SCH is putting in the effort. Sort of like me at karaoke night. Not sure about the results, but full points for enthusiasm.
It's not coming up roses for Marcus School. They're trailing Eddie G and the gap's on the rise. They don't seem to have a response. It's like bringing a knife to a gunfight. It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Joe Yu, who is currently in P8. But Marcus School is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Joe Yu.
Nail biting indeed. I've already chewed through half of mine. And while York Yu is going for gold, I'll be going for a manicure.
It's not going to plan for Joe Yu. They are still behind Marcus School, and the gap is increasing. I don't think they have an answer for this right now. I've made some questionable life decisions, but trailing over 2 seconds behind? Even I'm not that self-sabotaging. Stop the press. A. Phillips is pitting. From the cockpit to the pit lane, the chatter is all about a Phillips's masterful hold on the first.
It's a dance, Rob. The way A. Phillips holds onto that first, it's like they're leading in a tango.
Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. A. Phillips is in the lead, but Sunoiler is closing in and the gap is now 4.4 seconds.
If A. Phillips wants to keep their lead, they're going to need to drive like they've got a gator on their tail.
The tension is building as Richard Rossier trails behind M. Phillips. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Can M. Phillips hold on, or will Richard Rossier be able to close them down? It's not looking good for Richard Rossier. They are still behind M. Phillips, and the gap is increasing. They are going to need to dig a bit deeper to turn this around. It's a battle of wills out there, with M. Phillips trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Sunoiler. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Will we see a dramatic finish to this race?
You know, M. Phillips reminds me of my dog chasing its tail, persistent and entertaining. But I hope for them, there's a better end result in sight.
Well, don't come the raw prawn. Matt Phillips is giving it some stick, pulling Sunoiler into a mere 10.7 seconds. Joe Yu's so far off pace, they might be better off in a hearse. At least then someone would be pushing from behind.
Exactly. York Yu's got to be careful not to overdrive, sort of like overcooking a steak. No one wants a burnt race, right?
If Joe Yu doesn't pick up the pace, hell, they'll be as relevant as an ashtray on a motorbike. Would y'all look at that gap? Richard Rossier's got a better chance of finding a sober Aussie on Australia Day. But hey, we love an underdog. Go get them, Tiger. Everyone's on the edge of their seats. Or in my case, on the edge of spilling my coffee. Megasaurus 55 is getting closer to Richard Rossier, and I'm getting closer to needing a towel.
Well, butter me up and put me on a biscuit. Megasaurus 55's got a mountain to climb. But, knowing Megasaurus 55, that's just the kind of challenge they like. Like trying to square dance in a round house.
The gap between Megasaurus 55 and Richard Rossier is expanding faster than a bull's waistline. It's now a whopping 120.1 seconds. Some say it's about the journey, not the destination. But A. Phillips seems pretty intent on that first spot. Well, I'll be hell. A Phillips's lead-over Sunoiler is slipping away faster than a greased pig at a county fair. We're down to just 2.3 seconds now. Blimey, Richard Rossier is so far back, they might as well stop for a beer at the pub. If they spot my ex there, tell them to drive faster.
Indeed, the tension is palpable as Richard Rossier tries to reel in M. Phillips. But M. Phillips is not making it easy, maintaining a consistent pace. Can Richard Rossier find some extra pace to bring the fight to M. Phillips?
The best laid plans of mice and men, haha, but it's certainly not going to plan for Richard Rossier right now as they are struggling to keep up with M. Phillips. Tell ya what, Joe Ogue's trailing harder than my belt after Christmas dinner. Reckon he's got a plan up his sleeve, or is he just here for the sausage sizzle?
Lordy, it's like York Hughes driving with a boot full of moonshine. I haven't seen a gap that big since Uncle Jeb lost his front teeth.
Now that's how it's done. M. Phillips rips through the track, while Sunoiler watches the tail lights fade. It may seem like Sunoiler is far behind, but M. Phillips can't afford to let their guard down. One mistake could give Sunoiler an opening to catch up. Cricky, Megasaurus 55's got more ground to cover than I do at the family barbecue when Auntie Sharon's had one too many. Good luck, mate.
Sweet mercy, Megasaurus 55's lagging like my grandma's old computer. Might be time to reboot, or at least pour some coffee into the gas tank. On a lighter note, if I could eat, I'd kill for some of the trackside snacks right about now. Oh, absolutely. But you know, my digestion is a real mess.
Ah, is that what the smell is? Megasaurus 55's drifting so far back, it's like looking in the mirror after a decade-long pub binge. Time's not been kind, mate.
I've seen funeral processions move faster than Megasaurus 55 right now. Come to think of it, at least they've got a destination in mind.
It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Sunoiler trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on M. Phillips. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. Can Sunoiler close in enough to mount a challenge? Sunoiler's on the back foot here, struggling to keep up with M. Phillips like a dingo after a roadrunner. Watching the drivers handle their cars is like watching a croc handler at a wildlife show. There's a finesse to it. But one wrong move, and you're in a world of hurt.
Oh, for sure. It's like trying to rope a bull at a rodeo. It looks easy from the stands, but up close, it's all about skill, timing, and knowing when it's about to let go.
The race is heating up as Megasaurus 55 in 5th closes in on Richard Rossier. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight. It looks like a Phillips has found another gear in the last sector of the race. And there it is. A. Phillips has completed the race in first place, setting a blistering pace that none of the other drivers could match.
And that's why A. Phillips is one of the best in the business. A dominant display of driving from start to finish, leaving the rest of the pack in the dust.
Some might say that second place is the first loser, but M. Phillips certainly doesn't see it that way. They put in a phenomenal effort and should be proud of their impressive result.
Impressive performance. They pushed themselves to the limit for a fantastic second place finish.
What a race from Sunoiler, showing their skill and determination for a great third place finish.
Fantastic result.
Megasaurus 55 and Marcus School in 5th and 7th. Richard Rossier end in 4th. In 8th, it's Joe Ergue. Sixth sees Eddie G.